6 Coronation Street spoilers next week. Hold on tight, Corrie fans. Next week, the Cobbles are about to be rocked by shocking reunions, devastating twists, and one villain making life miserable. Tracy Barlow comes face to face with her killer ex, Donovan. But has he really changed, or is she walking into danger? Meanwhile, Debbie Webster's world is about to turn upside down as the first heartbreaking signs of dementia emerge. And just when Dee-Dee thought her week couldn't get any crazier, her brother James returns, but with a bombshell offer. And that's just the beginning. Daisy Midgeley sees red, Roy Cropper's kindness could backfire, and Dylan Wilson? Let's just say, trouble is closing in fast. You won't want to miss these explosive Coronation Street spoilers for 17th to 20th March 2025. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from Episode Whisper. Now, let's get into it. Into 1. Donovan has a proposition for Tracy Barlow. Carla's got enough on her plate, but things get even messier when Lisa warns her that Betsy is terrified with Rob still on the loose. Carla steps in to help, but the second there's a crisis at Underworld, she rushes off, leaving Betsy alone just as the door buzzer goes. Meanwhile, Carla spots Mandy, Rob's prison guard girlfriend, at the hospital and knows something's up. She calls Lisa and even ropes Roy into keeping an eye on Mandy. Soon, Carla and Lisa are following her, sensing trouble. But back on the street, things take a shocking turn. Tracy comes face to face with Rob in the Ginnel. Rob needs Tracy's help and talks her into collecting a fake passport. But as she's getting rid of the dodgy package, Mary Taylor is watching closely. Just as Mary starts hammering on the door, Rob tries to run, only for his legs to give way as he collapses in agony. Tracy manages to get rid of Mary, but now she's left with Rob, who's just thrown her life into chaos again. And then comes the biggest twist. Rob suggests they run away together and start fresh. Tracy is stunned, left with a huge decision that could change everything. Will she risk it all, or will common sense take over? Whatever happens, it's going to be explosive. 2. Debbie Webster displays worrying symptoms ahead of dementia diagnosis. Debbie Webster's always been sharp, so when she starts making little mistakes, it's easy to dismiss them. But are they just slip-ups, or is something more serious going on? She kicks off at Eileen over a missing cab booking, but with Eileen distracted by her sister's illness. Could Debbie be the one who's got it wrong? Later, a power issue at Debbie's hotel raises more concerns. Mick tells her it was a planned outage and she was emailed about it, but she insists she never got the message and refuses to pay. That's not like Debbie. She's always on top of things. Is she being messed around, or is she really starting to forget? No one's quite noticed what's happening yet, but the signs are adding up. A forgotten booking, a missed email. It seems small, but together it paints a worrying picture. The real question is, will Debbie realise something's wrong before it's too late? And more importantly, will she admit she needs help? With Kevin dealing with his own health struggles, she hasn't got an easy support system. But Debbie's dementia diagnosis is coming, and when it does, it'll turn her world upside down. Will she let others in or try to face it alone? 3. James Bailey returns with a shock offer for Dee-Dee. Bailey Lauren Bolton is feeling proper grateful to Dee-Dee for going through with the pregnancy, knowing it's given little Frankie a real shot at a normal life. But just as things start settling down, James turns up and Dee-Dee gets so caught up spending time with him that she even skips a hospital appointment. It's not long before she's dragged back into reality though, when she gets an urgent message from Lauren. When Dee-Dee rushes back to the hospital, she's hit with some unexpected news. Another donor has been found. That means they don't have to rely on her baby anymore to save Frankie's life. On the outside, Dee-Dee plays it cool, but inside, she's all over the place. She was already preparing for her child to be adopted, but now there's no pressure tied to Frankie's survival. And just when she thought she had it all figured out, James drops a bombshell. He and his boyfriend Danny would love to adopt the baby themselves. With her head already spinning, Dee-Dee turns to her social worker to start sorting out the adoption process. It's a big step, and she knows she needs to think it through properly. So, she takes the next step and arranges a meeting with the potential adoptive parents. It's all moving quickly now, and the reality of what she's about to do is properly sinking in. But the big question is, when it comes down to it, will Dee-Dee actually go through with it? And if she does, will she decide that James and Danny are the right ones to raise her child? Whatever happens next, it's going to be a huge decision that changes everything. 4. Daisy, Midgeley is furious as a sensitive moment is ruined. Daniel suggests to Daisy that they do something to remember her baby, hoping it might help her cope with the loss. She shares the idea of a small memorial with Kit, but he doesn't seem too bothered. In the Rovers' backyard, Daisy, Daniel, and Jenny gather to light candles and reflect on the baby's loss. It's a quiet, emotional moment, until Mick stumbles in from the ginnel, completely unaware. Daisy is furious at the interruption, her grief quickly turning to anger. But will Mick realise the mistake he's made, or just make things worse? 5. Roy Cropper is caught up in Cassie Plummer's chaos. Evelyn Plummer's not one to make a fuss over her birthday, but even on her big day, she's got bigger things on her mind. She's determined to help Cassie, no matter what anyone else thinks. Tyrone and Fizz might have their doubts, but once Evelyn's made up her mind, there's no changing it. The problem is, Cassie's struggles aren't something that can be fixed overnight, and deep down, Evelyn knows it. Cassie's still battling her demons, and when desperation kicks in, bad decisions follow. Addiction doesn't just go away because people want it to, and Cassie finds herself slipping back into old habits. But just as things start spiraling, someone unexpected steps in, putting a stop to things before they go too far. The fallout from this is bound to shake things up, and soon enough, a trip to the hospital suggests that whatever happened, it wasn't minor. Meanwhile, over at number 1, Tracy's attitude isn't sitting well with Ken. He's furious when he hears how she treated Cassie, and for once, he's not willing to just let it slide. Ken's always had a soft spot for people who are struggling, and seeing Tracy act so cold has pushed him over the edge. When he tells her he wants her out by the time he's back from the Peak District, it's clear he means business. But will Tracy actually take him seriously? As for Evelyn, she's faced with the same question she's been asking herself for months. Can she really help Cassie, or is she fighting a losing battle? She's not one to give up easily, but this time the stakes feel higher than ever. One thing's for sure, there's no easy fix, and whatever happens next is bound to change things for good. 6. Dylan Wilson's ordeal worsens thanks to bully Brody Dillon's in deep, and despite warnings to stay away from Brody, he doesn't listen. At first things seem fine. Sean visits and is relieved to see his son settling in. But that peace is short-lived when Brody makes his move, cornering Sean and demanding he smuggle in a burner phone. If he refuses, Dylan's in for a rough time, and Sean's left reeling at the threat hanging over his son. Determined not to let this slide, Sean tells Dylan about Brody's blackmail and insists he's going to report him. But Dylan's terrified. He knows that getting the authorities involved will only make things worse. Instead, he pleads with his dad to let him handle it himself. Dylan tries to play it smart, telling Brody that Sean won't smuggle in a phone but will keep quiet. He's hoping that'll be enough to keep the peace, but he's badly underestimated Brody's temper. Things take a dark turn when Brody and his mates storm into Dylan's room, ready to make an example of him. He's out of options, trapped with nowhere to run. The question now is, how far will Brody go? And will Dylan come out of this unscathed? Or is this just the beginning of something much worse? And that's a wrap on another explosive week in Weatherfield. With shocking reunions, heartbreaking struggles, and some seriously high-stakes decisions, the drama is far from over. Will Tracy take the risk and run off with Rob? Can Debbie face what's happening before it's too late? And just how much more trouble is Dylan about to land himself in? One thing's for sure, things are only going to get messier, and we'll be here to keep you updated every step of the way. If you don't want to miss a single twist, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop. Drop your predictions in the comments. What do you think Tracy will do? And how will Debbie's family react when the truth finally comes out? Let's chat all things Corrie. Until next time, take care and keep watching.